All right, I am glad you stopped by because things have changed for the better. I've made some big changes. So, I used to have a battery bank right here, house battery sat under a wooden box here. It was two 100 amp hour LiFePO 4 batteries with self heaters in them. And they used to be here, and then I had tons of bus bars and a bird nest of spaghetti wiring all over the place under here. I had charge controllers mounted along up in here and just tons of wires everywhere. Now I have a total of 4 wires coming in, 2 positives, 2 negatives. I have created 2 solar systems on the roof. We'll go out in a minute and I'll show you that. So what I have here is I have a 2,000 watt hour power station by a Fury. You saw the video I did on that several months ago. I'm using it in place of the house batteries. All this power station does is it runs the fridge all the time and it runs the max air fan. And I can also use it to like charge a phone and other stuff, but I'm not really using it for much. This power station I'll be doing a review on in just a few days. It's a 1152 watt hour Blue Eddy and the model is AC 180. I'm using it for nothing but running the Starlink, and right now I'm charging the battery on my battery drill. But usually this is just going to be for the Starlink. And this one here, you may remember this, I've had it forever. It's a VEVOR brand, 1500 watt hour, and I'm not using it for anything right now, but I will be using it for stuff like charging the e-bike and just as an emergency backup, just in case. So let's just push that back. So what I have done is I have 400 watts of solar on the roof. Let's go outside and I'll show you how I've split that into 2. Okay, let's go up the ladder and take a peek. So what I have is I have 4 100 watt panels up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 2 is one system. These 2 is another system. I have wired them in series. So I'm getting about 39 or 40 volts because these are about 19 or 20 volts a piece. System 1, system 2. So I brought in 2 wires from positive negative from system 1, which is dedicated to doing nothing but charging the 2,000 watt hour power station that I use as a house battery. This system, the other 200 watt system, it does nothing but charge up the Blue Eddy and the VEVOR for accessories like Starlink and stuff. Oh, and also for charging up the power station that I will use to charge the e-bike battery. Now let me show you how this is so simple because I didn't have to drill any holes in this roof. The wiring comes here and then it all connects here. See, I've got 4 wires here. Now let me show you how it enters into the interior of the van. Okay, let me come in this way so you'll get a good perspective of this and understand it. There is a louver built in. I have removed this panel and here it is right here. It's just 2 screws that take this off. There's a louver built in right here. It's got these rubber grommets that cover it, rubber flaps. So I just pushed one of them out of the way and it was just enough space to run all 4 wires, positive, negative, positive, negative. The wires come in right there. And I've made some little hooks here along this board and it just runs all the way down, continues on down, and then they split off into 2 systems. Now let's go back in and I'll show you what system 1 does. This is just the best setup I've ever had right here. Okay, so I left a little gap here. There's an XT90 plug that comes in from system 1 that I wired in, and the other end has MC4 connectors on it, and it plugs into the side here and keeps this charged. The other one, it splits off here. So this is system 1. System 2 runs down behind here, and let's track it on down. And it comes out here And this is what goes into this power station, and it's charging right here. This is the plug-in point, and I wired in a multi-adapter which will go into any power station you can imagine. I have barrel connectors, I have Anderson plug, and I have XT60. And so I would use this Anderson plug to charge up this Vitoman 1500 watt hour power station. And I use this barrel connector to charge up this Blue Eddy. So this is the best of both worlds. It's simple. I've eliminated some weight. I've eliminated a lot of wiring, and I've created more space here. And the buddy heater, I'm still working on that. I have to pull it out, and I set it here facing forward toward my recliner in the evening when it's cold. Let me set that up and I'll show you. So the heater will sit approximately right here. I'm thinking about building a swing out arm for it. One thing I've always had to be careful about when I use this is I have to push the blankets back. And it's still a work in progress on the buddy heater, but I'm not too sure about mounting it in a stationary position because I like the idea of being able to move it around because I have a long enough hose. I think I got a 10-foot hose on it. So I can move it around in different places if I need to. I kind of like that. I also have this little guy, this little power station I use on a daily basis for charging up my tablet and my phone. And it usually just sits up underneath the console between the two seats in the front. It's just 300 watt hour, but I really use this thing all the time. And the great thing about it is I can just charge it directly from this one while it's charging from solar. It can pass through charge, and I can just plug in right here from like a cigarette lighter port, plug it in right there and just charge it at the same time that this one's charging, or this one. Either way, I can charge it off any of those three. So it's just really convenient and just so easy. Okay, so let's step out here and let me show you the old batteries I just pulled out. These batteries are only 11 months old. About 11 months ago, I was out here doing this, putting these in. That's a 100 amp hour self-heating LiFePO 4 battery, and there's another one identical to it. And I had these wired up, you know, red to red, black to black, and then I had bus bars coming off of it for all my appliances. It was just a complete bird nest of wires on top of here. And my friend RVing with G just came by, and I gave him a huge bag of cabling. He's going to take that up to the van build thing they're having up on Plamosa Road, and he's going to give all that cabling away, and a couple of the items he's going to keep for himself. Now, my other friend G in Texas is requesting that I hold on to these batteries. He wants to get them to someone, but I have a neighbor here that really needs one. So I think he's really needs it. So I think I'm gonna get it to him. And this other one, G in Texas, we'll see what we can do about storing this one. I just don't know if it's gonna be possible. I'll text you later and we'll discuss it. But there's just so many people out here that I could gift this to, and it would really change their life, and it would keep us from having to deal with storage fees and all that stuff. So I may be doing that. Okay, so in the cargo box here, I have 400 watts of portable panels just in case I need to lay those out. I could plug these directly into any of those power stations and charge that way. So I've got plenty enough solar. And then, of course, we have this little genius device called a DC to DC charger. I'll show you that. It's wired up here to the starter battery. That goes behind the firewall. And let's jump inside and I'll show you that. So here it is. So in case I get in a pickle and I'm in a place where there's just no sunshine for a week or so, I could just simply start the van and plug this into a power station and charge it up at no time because it would charge at about 500 watts. And this is just an amazing system that I have now. And it comes equipped with a multi-adapter also. I don't know what that's for. What is that one for? That's some kind of airplane thing or something, looks like. But it's got the XT60 with an XT90 adapter. Let me show you what I mean by that. There. See how that pops off? The XT60 is a small one, and that's the XT90. And they just fit together, so it'll fit any power station. And it also has this 8mm round barrel connector on it also. So I don't know about you, but I'm thinking with all these power stations and the simplicity of just bringing in the solar cabling and plugging directly into the power station, and with all of these options I have for charging between solar and DC to DC charging, I think I'm golden as far as electricity needs. Let's see, this is the little battery for my battery drill, and it's just charging up right now. That should be done in pretty soon. That's been going for about an hour. So there you have it, the new and improved Matty Wagon electrical system. And I'm still tweaking things and figuring out where to plug in, like my phone at night. Just say, for instance, I have a long USB cable that I plug in here, and then the phone just sits here by the bed at night. So I like the options. I love that I have more space now and just less wiring. I was just really started getting concerned with all that cabling. It was just so many cables. And now, you know, I just have 4 coming in to the van from the solar panels. And, you know, I've wired up these little adapters here. That's the fridge plugged in here. And the fridge runs underneath this Gorilla Tape and goes into the back of the fridge. This is the fridge here, right under there. So I think this is the way to go. If I had to do all over again, I would have never, ever put in the house battery system. I call it house battery. Some people call it leisure batteries, whatever. I would have never went through all that trouble. I would have just got, you know, a couple of these large power stations. I'd started with one, maybe one large one and then one small one, and then see how that met my needs. But now that I have Starlink and an e-bike, you know, I needed a little bit more, but I didn't want to go overkill. And I'm just really happy with this. I did it all in about, I guess, a total of 4 hours, ripping out the old and putting in the new. And one thing I do want to mention is when you're running in these splitters from your cabling from your solar, some of them will be red and some of them be black, and it starts out red is positive and black is negative. But by the time you get here, sometime that changes, because of some companies seem to, they're putting the female plug on the positive, and sometimes they put the female on the negative. So when I first plugged this in, nothing happened. So I switched it around, and that's what it was. It was reverse polarity. And I just thought it was all universal, but with these MC4 connectors, it seems like sometimes they put them on the wrong side. But I figured that out pretty quickly. And other than that, everything's fused. Got a fuse here, and coming in to everything. So, and this one has a fuse on it too. So there we go. I'm gonna love this. And this cabinet's just sitting on this power station, and it's bolted to the wall, and then it's zip tied to the handles of the power station, and it's tight. See, you can really jerk on this this cabinet and it's not going anywhere. But I might remodel this. I might put a platform on it of some type, but right now I just needed to get it to go where in case I had to drive to town to get other parts, I could drive. But I might just leave it that way. And I had to leave a gap here between the sink and the power station so I could reach my hand in here to plug that in and unplug it. But the sink system is pretty much the same. See, everything stayed the same except there's a little gap here now. Oops, let me straighten the sink up. There we go. And when I close the table, it pinches that down where you can't move anything under there. It's all pinched in. And that's just because I measured up to where this would press really tight right here. And then the weight of the table presses here. And that keeps the funnel pressed firmly into the gray water container. This captures all the water that comes out of the sink. And then that's my fresh water. And you can see I've got the hose that comes up out of it and attaches to the bottom of the pump. Is that a moth in my sink? That is a moth in my sink. Well, I need to clean this thing. Quit tinkering, Maddie, and start cleaning. Okay, that'll be the next chore. All right, my friends. I'll check in later. Thanks for watching. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.